Did these idiots seriously just respond to a distress signal meant for a Class 12 civilization? Supreme Commander Zixtal clicked their mandibles in disbelief, compound eyes fixed on the holographic display. Technically, yes, Chief Intelligence Officer Verma replied, their tentacles writhing in what could only be described as the deep space equivalent of a facepalm. But that's not even the worst part. How could it possibly get worse? They answered it using technology they reverse-engineered from a broken microwave and what appears to be... Let me check the reports. Yes, a Nokia 3310 they found in a museum. The two Arxilian officers stared at the incoming transmission, which somehow managed to pierce through 16 layers of quantum encryption, using what their analysis suggested was a modified Earth device primarily used for reheating something called leftover pizza. The message itself was even more baffling. Hey, space dudes, caught your SOS or whatever. Sounds rough. We're like 3 planets over. Saw your ships on fire or something? Got some extinguishers and duct tape if you need them. Also, bringing snacks. Humanity's Ixtal's exoskeleton nearly cracked from the stress. Verma, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we specifically encode that distress signal in 15-dimensional quantum matrices to ensure only advanced civilizations capable of manipulating the fabric of space-time could detect it? Affirmative, Supreme Commander. And these... humans, they just happened to pick it up using primitive Earth technology? Well, Verma consulted their datapad, antenna twitching nervously. According to our analysis, they didn't even mean to intercept it. They were apparently trying to boost their Wi-Fi signal to stream something called cat videos to their colony on Mars. The Supreme Commander's ceremonial headpiece drooped slightly. And they're bringing snacks? Yes, sir, something called Doritos and Mountain Dew. Our xenobiologists are still trying to determine if these are weapons. Before either officer could process the absurdity of the situation further, another transmission cut through their quantum-encrypted channels with all the subtlety of a supernova in a library. Yo, space friends, quick update. We're bringing extra duct tape. Dave from engineering says you can never have too much duct tape. Also, anyone aboard allergic to peanuts? We've got these sick Thai-style chicken skewers, but better safe than sorry, right? Humanity. Again. The bridge of the Arxilian flagship fell silent, save for the gentle hum of their antimatter engines, and what sounded suspiciously like someone trying not to laugh at their command station. They do realize we're in the middle of a Class 5 quantum core breach, right? Zixtal asked, mandibles twitching. Our ship is literally phasing in and out of 17 different dimensions simultaneously. Verma checked the incoming sensor data and somehow managed to look even more bewildered. Sir, you might want to see this. They're already here. The massive viewscreen flickered to life, revealing what appeared to be a hodgepodge of Earth vessels cobbled together with... Was that actually duct tape? The fleet, if one could call it that, seemed to defy every known law of physics, yet somehow maintained perfect formation around the Arxilian flagship. Another transmission crackled through. Hope you don't mind. We brought some friends. Meet the International Space Fleet. Well, more like the International Space Random ships we had lying around. We've got Bob here in his modified SpaceX touring vessel. Maria's rocking her vintage NASA shuttle, totally restored, mint condition. And Chang's got his sweet custom job that used to be a grain silo. Everyone's ready to help. Also, heads up, we're sending over Pedro first. He's got this crazy idea about reversing your quantum core polarity using a modified Xbox controller and a toaster. He says worst case scenario, we make space toast. Your new human buddies. Zixtal turned to Verma, all 4 of their arms hanging limply at their sides. Contact the High Council. Tell them we need to seriously reconsider our classification of pre-quantum civilizations, and possibly our definition of impossible. As if on cue, a small shuttle, which appeared to be partially constructed from recycled soda cans, docked with their ship. The airlock cycled, and in floated a human wearing what looked like a spacesuit made of repurposed firefighting gear and motorcycle parts. Pedro, I presume, Zixtal managed to say. The human gave what they assumed was a thumbs up, though it was hard to tell through the DIY spacesuit. That's me. Hey, quick question. Your quantum core, it's a Mark 7 infinity loop design, right? Because if it is, I've got this great idea involving a refrigerator magnet and some paper clips. Verma's tentacles began stress braiding themselves. Supreme Commander, according to our databases, humans shouldn't even be able to comprehend the concept of quantum cores for at least another 3 centuries. Pedro shrugged, pulling out what appeared to be a gaming controller held together with liberal amounts of duct tape and hope. "Oh yeah, normally we wouldn't. But my cousin Miguel, he's got this food truck, right? And one day he accidentally spilled some hot sauce on his quantum physics textbook. Long story short, we figured some stuff out. Now, about that core breach. Anyone got a paperclip?" What followed was perhaps the most unconventional rescue operation in the history of space travel. Pedro, along with a steady stream of equally innovative humans, proceeded to stabilize the quantum core, using a combination of Earth technology that, by all rights, shouldn't have worked, shouldn't have been compatible, and in several cases, shouldn't have even been in space. The quantum core breach was eventually contained using 1 modified Xbox controller, 3 paperclips, a toaster, which did indeed make excellent space toast, something called a potato battery, 17 meters of duct tape, a Wi-Fi router, the aforementioned refrigerator magnet, a copy of Quantum Physics for Dummies with hot sauce stains as the last dimensional fluctuations stabilized and the ship settled back into normal space-time. Zixtal found themselves surrounded by celebrating humans and increasingly confused Arxillian crew members. "I don't understand," they finally admitted to Pedro, who was now helping himself to some space toast. "How did you actually do this? None of your technology should have been capable of affecting quantum-level systems." Pedro grinned, taking a bite of his toast. "Oh, that's easy. We just figured if it works in normal space, we could make it work in quantum space with enough duct tape and positive thinking. Besides, that Xbox controller? My little sister modded it to handle 17 dimensions after she got tired of only being able to play regular 3D games." Verma, who had been quietly documenting everything for what would surely be the most bizarre report ever submitted to the High Council, finally spoke up. "But the quantum equations, the mathematical complexities—" "Yeah, about that," Pedro said, pulling out his smartphone. "We made an app. Want to see? It's still in beta, but it's pretty good at handling quantum calculations. Also plays music and orders pizza." Zixtal looked around their bridge, now crowded with humans sharing snacks, teaching their crew how to play video games, and casually violating what they had previously thought were immutable laws of physics. A human child was teaching one of their quantum engineers how to use something called Minecraft to model higher dimensional spaces. "Supreme Commander," Verma said quietly, "I believe we may need to update our first contact protocols, specifically the part about technological assessment." Zixtal watched as another human cheerfully demonstrated how they had modified a coffee maker to detect tachyon particles. "I believe you're right, Verma. Though I must admit I am curious about one thing." "Sir?" "These Doritos. They are quite good, aren't they?" Verma's tentacles unconsciously reached for another chip. "Indeed, sir. Though I'm still not entirely convinced they aren't some form of addictive weapon." As if to punctuate this exchange, yet another transmission came through, this time from the human fleet. "Hey, so while we were fixing your quantum core, we couldn't help but notice your FTL drive looks a bit outdated. Anyone interested in an upgrade? Maria's got some ideas involving a trampoline and a modified hairdryer. Also, we're organizing a space barbecue next week. BYOB, bring your own binary stars. Humanity, your new quantum mechanics." Zixtal looked at the message, then at the celebrating humans on their bridge, then back at the message. Finally, they did something very un-Supreme Commander-like. They laughed. "Verma, send a reply. Tell them we'd be honored to attend their barbecue. And ask them to bring more of these Doritos." As the message was sent, somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the universe itself seemed to pause for a moment, as if trying to comprehend how a species that still used duct tape as a primary engineering tool had just casually rewritten the laws of quantum mechanics using household appliances. The answer, of course, was simple. They were human, and they didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. And somehow that made all the difference. One standard galactic month later, the incident report sat on High Counselor Nixthara's desk, defying every convention of official documentation by including multiple references to snack foods, gaming consoles, and something called a YouTube tutorial. "You expect me to believe," the High Counselor said, all 7 eye stalks focused intensely on Supreme Commander Zixtal, "that humans solved a quantum core breach using refrigerator magnets and paperclips?" Zixtal added helpfully, "Don't forget the paperclips." Verma, who had been summoned to corroborate this increasingly improbable tale, stepped forward. "We have extensive documentation, High Counselor, including several, how did they call them? Ah yes, selfies taken during the incident. The High Counselor's eye stalks wavered between disbelief and fascination as they examined the holographic images. There, clear as quantum daylight, was an image of Pedro and his team posed in front of the stabilized core, making what appeared to be peace signs while holding partially melted gaming controllers. "And this barbecue they mentioned?" Aleksandra asked, unable to completely mask their curiosity. "Actually, about that," Zixtal began, just as another transmission cut through the High Council's supposedly impenetrable quantum-encrypted communications network. "Party update. Location changed to Saturn's rings. Better view, plus Dave says the ice particles make great cocktail chillers. We've got humans, Arxilians, and now some cool rock people from Proxima Centauri who picked up our Avite. Speaking of which, who taught them about TikTok? Because their dance videos are crushing it. Party Planning Committee. Humanity Division." The High Counselor's eye stalks all blinked simultaneously. "They're using our quantum communication network to send party invitations?" "Oh no," Verma corrected, checking their datapad. "They're using something called Space Instagram. The quantum network was too slow for their memes." Before the High Counselor could process this information, another transmission arrived, this time accompanied by what appeared to be a digital flyer decorated with animated spacecraft and cartoon aliens wearing party hats. "Quick reminder about the potluck situation. Humans bringing BBQ ribs, potato salad, and something called Jeff's Mystery Casserole. Approach with caution. Arxilians got quantum-shifted appetizers and those cool color-changing drinks. Rock people bringing literal star fragments as party favors. So thoughtful. Still need volunteers for the karaoke committee. Party planning committee. Now with more species." Aleksandra turned all 7 eye stalks toward Zixtal. "Supreme Commander, are you telling me that humanity's first major interaction with the galactic community is a potluck party in Saturn's rings?" "Second interaction, technically," Zixtal corrected. "The quantum core incident was first, though I should mention they're calling it a mixer rather than just a party. Something about fostering interstellar relationships through the power of good food and better music." As if to emphasize this point, yet another transmission arrived. "Breaking news. Rock people just discovered Earth music. They're particularly into something called heavy metal. Go figure. Now taking song requests for the interstellar karaoke playlist. Also, quick physics question. If we set up speakers in Saturn's rings, will the ice particles dance to the beat? Because that would be awesome. And DJ Committee. A human-rock people collaboration." The High Counselor spent several moments in silent contemplation, eye stalks swaying gently. Finally, they spoke. "Verma, what is your professional assessment of this situation?" Verma's tentacles twisted thoughtfully. "Well, High Counselor, from a strategic perspective, humanity has managed to 1. Solve a quantum-level engineering crisis using household appliances. 2. Establish diplomatic relations with multiple species through casual social gatherings. 3. Create an interstellar social media network using modified Earth technology. 4. Introduce the concept of space karaoke to the galaxy at large. 5. Successfully merge quantum physics with party planning, all of this in less than a standard galactic month. My professional assessment is that we should probably attend this party." The High Counselor's eye stalks all focused on a new message appearing in their quantum display. "P.S. High Council peeps, we see you got our invite. Thanks, quantum network hack. I mean totally legitimate communication channel. Don't worry about bringing anything fancy, just yourselves. Though, if you've got any of those sweet antimatter cocktails, we wouldn't say no. Humanity's Party Planning Committee." After what seemed like an eternity, but was actually closer to 7 Earth seconds, the High Counselor did something unprecedented in the history of their position. They smiled. "Supreme Commander Zixtal, Chief Intelligence Officer Verma, please inform the humans that the High Council would be stoked to attend their mixer. And yes, we will bring the antimatter cocktails." As Zixtal and Verma left the council chambers, they could have sworn they heard the High Counselor humming something that sounded suspiciously like heavy metal. Meanwhile, in Saturn's rings, a group of humans and rock people were already setting up the galaxy's first interstellar dance floor, complete with quantum-enhanced speakers and gravity-defying disco balls. The ice particles were indeed dancing to the beat, and somewhere in the vast expanse of space, other civilizations began picking up strange transmissions, music mixed with laughter, recipes being shared across light years, and party invitations written in code that somehow pierced their most sophisticated security systems. The galaxy would never be the same. But then again, that's what tends to happen when humans get involved. The party in Saturn's rings was, as humans would say, totally crushing it. Ice particles sparkled in complex quantum-synchronized patterns, thanks to what the humans called Project Disco, a collaboration between Earth's top physicists and a group of enthusiastic EDM DJs. The result was the galaxy's first quantum-enhanced light show, which had the unexpected side effect of accidentally solving 3 long-standing problems in theoretical physics. Did you know, Pedro was explaining to a group of fascinated Arxilians, that if you reverse the polarity of a quantum speaker while playing dubstep, you can actually create a temporary stable wormhole? Fascinating, Verma replied, their tentacles swaying to the beat. And the wormhole is stable? Oh yeah, super stable. We use them as pizza delivery shortcuts now. Speaking of which, hey Maria, did the wormhole pizza order come through yet? Maria, who had somehow modified her spacesuit to include sequins and LED strips, gave a thumbs up from her DJ booth. A converted satellite dish that was now pumping out a mix of Earth music and what sounded like harmonized quantum fluctuations. The High Council representatives, who had arrived fashionably late in their ceremonial vessels, were currently engaged in what they insisted was anthropological research, but looked suspiciously like learning the Macarena from a group of enthusiastic rock people. I must admit, High Counselor Nixthara said to Supreme Commander Zixtal, taking a sip of their antimatter cocktail, now with a little paper umbrella in it. When you first reported humans' unusual approach to quantum mechanics, I was skeptical. But after seeing them turn Saturn's rings into a dance floor using modified microwave technology, wait until you see what they've done with the karaoke setup, Zixtal replied, gesturing toward a stage that seemed to exist in several dimensions simultaneously. Apparently they found a way to translate quantum harmonics into musical notes. The rock people are particularly excited about performing something called Bohemian Rhapsody. As if on cue, a group of silicon-based life forms took the stage, their crystalline structures gleaming under the quantum-enhanced lighting. What followed was perhaps the first-ever performance of Queen's masterpiece in 15 dimensions, with harmonies that technically shouldn't have been possible in normal space-time. Dude, Dave from engineering whispered to Pedro, I think they just accidentally proved string theory with that high note. Meanwhile, at the quantum buffet table, which existed in a state of both having and not having food until someone took a serving, an impromptu cultural exchange was taking place. Humans were introducing various species to the concept of fusion cuisine, which had taken on a whole new meaning when someone suggested combining Earth recipes with actual fusion reactions. So you're telling me? A particularly intrigued rock person asked, examining what appeared to be a glowing sandwich, that this grilled cheese is actually grilled using plasma from a miniature star. Yeah, Jeff replied proudly, adjusting his kiss the cook, warning may contain quantum particles apron. Found out the solar flares add a nice little kick to the cheddar. Want to try my mystery casserole next? Fair warning, it exists in 3 time periods simultaneously. The party reached a new level of interstellar cooperation when someone, later investigations would suggest it was Maria's cousin Luis, introduced the concept of quantum limbo, a dance competition that involved passing under a beam of pure probability. The trick is, Luis explained to a mixed group of humans, Arxilians, and rock people, you have to exist in a superposition of states to get under the bar. It's like regular limbo, but with more Schrodinger's cat vibes. The High Council's Scientific Advisory Board, who had initially come to observe and document this unprecedented gathering, were now fully engaged in a heated debate about whether the electric slide could be used as an alternative form of FTL travel. Think about it, one advisor argued, drawing diagrams in spilled quantum punch. If we synchronize the movements across multiple dimensions— Already tried it, Pedro interrupted, grabbing some interdimensional nachos. Works great, but only if you play the song at exactly 1.21 gigahertz. Also, you have to really commit to the slide part. As the party continued, more species began arriving through various means, some through conventional space travel, others through the temporary wormholes created by particularly bass-heavy EDM tracks. A group of energy beings had shown up after detecting what they called most excellent vibes from several galaxies away. You know what's really wild? Dave said to Verma, watching as a conga line of various species wound its way through several dimensions. We originally just wanted to help with your quantum core thing. Now look at us. We're literally making the universe a better place through the power of partying. Verma's tentacles formed what had become their version of a smile. Indeed, though I'm still not entirely sure how you managed to turn our quantum communication network into something called Space Twitter. Oh, that was mostly accident, Dave admitted. We were trying to boost the Wi-Fi signal for the DJ booth and kind of accidentally created an interstellar social media platform. On the bright side, the memes are amazing. The party reached its peak when the rock people, who had become surprisingly adept at Earth music in a remarkably short time, performed a quantum-harmonized version of Sweet Home Alabama that temporarily turned Saturn's rings into a giant visualization equalizer. Okay, that's definitely going to show up on some astronomical surveys, Pedro noted, watching as the rings pulsed in perfect rhythm. Think we should tell them? Nah, Maria replied, adjusting her quantum mixer. Let them try to explain this one to their peer review boards. As the celebration continued, a new transmission appeared on the quantum network, now dubbed Spacebook by the humans. Breaking news. Humans throw first-ever galactic mixer, accidentally solve half of known physics problems through power of dance and snacks. Up next, karaoke session may hold key to unified field theory. Also, Jeff's mystery casserole achieves sentience, requests citizenship rights. More updates to follow. And space party. Quantum karaoke. Who let Jeff cook? The High Counselor, now wearing a paper party hat atop their eye stalks, turned to Zixtal. You know, when we first detected that quantum core breach, I never imagined it would lead to this. Zixtal watched as humans taught a group of energy beings how to do the YMCA. I don't think anyone could have imagined this, High Counselor. That's what makes it so perfectly human. And as Saturn's rings continued to pulse with the beat of quantum-enhanced music, as species from across the galaxy shared stories and snacks and terrible dance moves, as Jeff's mystery casserole began its campaign for galactic citizenship, one thing became clear. The universe would never be boring again, not with humans around. The aftermath of what was now being called the Great Quantum Mixer, or that time humans threw a party so epic it rewrote physics, was, predictably, causing quite a stir across the galaxy. So, let me get this straight, the head of the Galactic Scientific Academy said, reviewing the events through their quantum-enhanced monocle. Not only did humans solve a quantum core breach with household appliances, but they then proceeded to turn Saturn's rings into an interdimensional dance floor, yes, Verma confirmed, their tentacles still slightly sore from attempting something humans called the robot. And in the process, they accidentally solved 3 major physics problems, established diplomatic relations with 17 new species, created an interstellar social media network, and proved string theory through karaoke, Zixtal added helpfully. Also, Jeff's mystery casserole has been appointed as Earth's first non-human, non-corporeal ambassador. It's quite good at diplomatic relations, actually, despite existing in multiple temporal states simultaneously. The head of the Academy adjusted their monocle again, as if hoping the reports might make more sense from a different angle. They didn't, and now they're proposing the first annual Galactic Science and Music Festival, yes, Verma said. They're calling it Quantum Cella. The rock people are particularly excited about it. They've already formed 3 bands and discovered something they call space jazz. As if to emphasize this point, a new message popped up on Spacebook. Save the date! Quantum Cella 2025 lineup announced! Featuring the Rolling Stones. Actual Rolling Stones from Proxima Centauri. Quantum harmonics. Energy beings doing a cappella across 11 dimensions. Jeff's mystery casserole and the temporal paradox. Their hit single Schrodinger's Love Song is already topping the charts. DJ Maria and the Space-Time Scratchers. Plus special guest appearance by the High Council Choir. Those folks can sing. Quantum Cella space music rock people rock. The head of the Academy spent several moments in contemplative silence before speaking again. And the humans achieved all of this using duct tape, modified game consoles, and something they called the power of positive vibes. Yes, Zixtal confirmed. Though I should mention they've since upgraded their technology. They're now using something called RGB gaming tape, which, according to Dave from engineering, is like regular duct tape, but with better frame rates. Meanwhile, on Earth's newly established Interstellar Cultural Exchange Campus, formerly a mini golf course, now a quantum physics research center/concert venue, humans were busy teaching various alien species about Earth culture, while simultaneously learning about advanced sciences in ways that continue to baffle traditional educators. You see, Pedro was explaining to a group of energy beings while setting up a modified karaoke machine. If you sing Don't Stop Believin' at exactly the right frequency while running it through this quantum harmonizer, you can actually visualize dark matter. Watch. The resulting demonstration not only proved several theoretical physics papers correct, but also led to the energy beings starting their own journey cover band. In another part of the campus, Maria was teaching a class called Advanced Quantum Mechanics Through Dance, which had somehow become the most successful physics course in Earth's history. Remember, she called out to her mixed class of humans and aliens, the quantum wave function collapse is just like dropping the beat. It's all about timing and observation. Now everybody, when I say quantum, you say superposition. The resulting synchronization of dancing aliens and humans had the unexpected side effect of generating enough quantum energy to power the entire campus for a week. Back at the Galactic Scientific Academy, the reports kept coming in. Breaking. Humans discover new form of FTL travel based on sick beats and good vibes. Engineers still trying to understand how it works, but confirm it's totally rad. Update. Jeff's mystery casserole successfully negotiates peace treaty between two warring species by existing in both their time periods simultaneously and serving as its own peace talks buffet. Trending, rock people release first album Solid Gold, literally made of gold, actually solid. Critics call it groundbreaking, both musically and geologically. The head of the academy turned to Verma and Zixtal with all the weariness of someone who had spent their entire career studying the rational universe, only to have humans show up and turn it into what appeared to be an endless physics-defying party. And what do we do about all this? Verma's tentacles formed what had become their signature dealing with human shenanigans gesture. Well, the High Council has already approved funding for the Quantum Cella Festival. Apparently, they're headlining with something called a quantum wave function mosh pit. I see, the head of the academy said, though they clearly didn't. And this is really how humans advance their scientific understanding? Through parties and music? Not entirely, Zixtal noted. Sometimes they do it through what they call memes. Would you like to see their latest quantum physics TikTok challenge? It's actually led to some fascinating breakthroughs in dimensional theory. Before the head of the academy could respond, another Spacebook notification appeared. Yo! Quick heads up. Dave from engineering just figured out how to turn the Hadron Collider into the galaxy's biggest subwoofer. Planning a test run next Saturday. BYOE, bring your own earplugs, and maybe some snacks. Also, anyone know if quantum bass drops affect local spacetime? Asking for a friend. Quantum beats. Science party. What would Einstein think? The head of the academy slowly removed their monocle, placed it carefully on their desk, and did something unprecedented in their long, distinguished career. They logged into Spacebook. Tell the humans, they said with what might have been the beginning of a smile, that I would be interested in attending this subwoofer test. For scientific purposes, of course. Of course, Verma agreed, their tentacles already tapping out the rhythm to Bohemian Rhapsody in quantum Morse code. Should I mention that the rock people are planning to cover the entire Pink Floyd catalog next week? That, the head of the academy declared, would be most scientifically interesting. And so, as humanity continued its unique approach to advancing galactic civilization through the power of parties, music, and quantum-enhanced snack foods, the universe found itself adapting to a new normal, one where the laws of physics came with a soundtrack, where diplomatic relations were strengthened through dance-offs, and where somewhere, in multiple dimensions and time periods, Jeff's mystery casserole was probably still trying to explain its temporal citizenship status to very confused bureaucrats. But that's just what happens when humans get involved. The first annual Quantum Cella was, as humans would say, absolutely bonkers. Saturn's rings had been transformed into what could only be described as the galaxy's most ambitious concert venue, complete with quantum-enhanced light shows, interdimensional sound systems, and what appeared to be a food court that existed in several temporal states simultaneously. You have to admit, Verma said to Supreme Commander Zixtal as they watched a group of rock people perform their chart-topping cover of We Will Rock You, which, given their silicon-based nature, took on a whole new meaning. The humans have a certain style. Style? Zixtal clicked their mandibles thoughtfully. They turned our most advanced quantum technology into a sound system that can be heard across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. 4 spiral arms, actually, Pedro corrected, appearing suddenly through what looked like a temporary wormhole generated by the bass drop from the nearby EDM stage. Maria figured out how to boost the signal by synchronizing it with something she calls sick beats. The festival grounds were a testament to humanity's unique approach to, well, everything. The main stage, constructed primarily from repurposed spacecraft parts and what appeared to be several kilometers of RGB gaming tape, featured a rotating lineup of performers from across the known universe. Currently, Jeff's Mystery Casserole and the Temporal Paradox were performing their new hit single, Quantum Love in the Time of String Theory. A performance made particularly interesting by the fact that the band existed in 3 different time periods simultaneously, creating what critics were calling the ultimate form of harmonic convergence. Speaking of quantum physics, Pedro continued, munching on what appeared to be a temporally shifted hot dog. You might want to check out the Science Slam stage. Dave's about to demonstrate his new theory about unified field equations using interpretive dance and a modified Guitar Hero controller. The Science Slam stage had become one of the festival's most popular attractions, combining cutting-edge physics research with what humans called epic performance art. Currently, a team of Earth's top physicists was engaged in what they termed a quantum mechanics rap battle with a group of energy beings. You can't just rhyme probability with quantum stability, one of the energy beings protested. Watch me, replied Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's leading expert in quantum harmonics and apparently also a skilled freestyle rapper. The resulting verse not only won the battle, but accidentally proved 3 theoretical papers correct through the power of sick rhymes. Meanwhile, at the interdimensional food court, motto, our snacks exist in multiple states until observed, cultural exchange was happening at an unprecedented rate. The rock people had become particularly fond of Earth cuisine, though there had been some initial confusion about the concept of rock candy. No, see, it's not actually made of rocks, Jeff was explaining to a confused silicon-based life form. Though I did make a quantum-shifted version that might be more your style. It exists partially in a crystalline state, and partially in a state of pure probability. Fascinating, the rock person replied, taking a bite of what appeared to be Schrödinger's pop rocks. Though not as intriguing as your mystery casserole. I heard it just got nominated for a Nobel Prize in both physics and peace. Yeah, that was unexpected, Jeff admitted, especially since it submitted the nomination itself, from 3 different time periods. The High Council members, who had shown up in what they insisted were casual diplomatic attire, though the sequence suggested they'd been taking fashion advice from Maria, were currently engaged in what appeared to be a very serious discussion about the scientific applications of something called the electric slide. But if we synchronize the movements across multiple quantum states, one council member was arguing, their ceremonial robes swaying to the beat of a nearby quantum bass drop, we could potentially create a new form of FTL travel. Already on it, Maria called out from her DJ booth, which now appeared to be controlling both the music and several fundamental forces of the universe. Though fair warning, it only works if everyone commits to the dance moves. Half-hearted sliding creates temporal paradoxes. The festival reached a new level of interdimensional entertainment when the rock people debuted their ambitious cover of Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, performed simultaneously on all sides of multiple moons across several solar systems. The synchronization must have been incredibly complex, Verma observed, watching as the performance somehow managed to visualize actual dark matter through the power of progressive rock. Nah, Pedro shrugged. We just used the quantum karaoke machine and cranked up the reverb. Turns out space-time itself has pretty good acoustics. As the festival continued, Spacebook was flooded with updates. Breaking. Quantum Cella accidentally creates new form of matter through power of synchronized headbanging. Scientists call it totally metal. Update. Jeff's Mystery Casserole wins Nobel Prize in newly created category of temporal culinary physics. Acceptance speech delivered simultaneously in past, present, and future. Trending. Rock people's cover of Stairway to Heaven literally creates Stairway to Heaven. Astrophysicists still trying to explain how power chords can bend spacetime. Alert. Dance floor quantum synchronization reaches critical levels. Scientists warn of potential groove singularity. Everyone agrees this would be an awesome band name. The head of the Galactic Scientific Academy, who had shown up wearing what appeared to be a vintage Earth band t-shirt under their official robes, was currently taking notes on how the humans had managed to turn quantum entanglement into a light show. Remarkable, they muttered, watching as Maria's latest bass drop temporarily turned Saturn's rings into a visualization of string theory. They've managed to advance our understanding of the universe through partying? That's not even the best part. Pedro grinned. pointing toward a nearby stage where a group of energy beings were attempting to learn the Macarena. Wait until you see what happens when they figure out the moves. Spoiler alert, it might solve the dark energy problem. And so, as the first quantum cella continued to rewrite both the laws of physics and the galactic entertainment industry, as species from across the universe came together through the universal languages of music and questionable dance moves, as Jeff's mystery casserole prepared for its temporal Nobel Prize acceptance speech, one thing became increasingly clear. The universe wasn't ready for humans, but it was definitely having fun trying to catch up. The end?